follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live in Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Kicking off this hour, talking some Euro 24 as Nigel Seeley joins the program, PremierSportsPlays.com. He is on the Progressive Guest Line. Mate, good morning. Always a pleasure talking to you. You came on last week. You tipped Germany at around plus 550 to win the entire event. They won their first match. They were ultra impressive, 5-1 over Scotland. Did nothing in that match. That was an own goal. Did that only cement your thoughts about Germany in their first match, or have you decided to maybe add anybody else here in the future market?
Well, I was very impressed with them. Yeah. And I think every bookmaker and every person watching around the world was very impressed with Germany to win that in that match. But the question mark we have to answer ourselves is, what did they have to beat? Was it that Scotland are probably the worst team in the tournament, or did they have an off day? I think we'll know a little bit more about Germany over the next couple of days, but you had to be impressed with them. I felt we was extremely, extremely unlucky not to have our picks. I know the under 2.75 goals was a bad read, but to win to nil, how did we win to nil? The goal XG for Scotland was 0. And it was an OG in the 88th minute. They didn't have a shot on target. They didn't even have a corner in that match, and they scored. That was heartbreaking. And then with the stats of the second half to produce the most goals, there was 3 goals in the second half, and it was a push. And the highest ever in the first match of any in that tournament has been 3 goals. So I felt very, very aggrieved to start the tournament off with a bad run. Scotland were terrible. I've got a lot of Scottish friends. Scotland have never, ever got to a second round of a major in their history, in World Cup or in European Championships. I've been sending jokes to my Scottish friends. What do you call a Scotsman in the second round of a football or soccer tournament? And the answer is a referee. Yes. So that was my joke. Obviously went down better with the Scottish fans than you two. But anyway, no, I think that Germany have looked good. I think they've looked very, very impressive. I think the other factor, if you're taking Germany, is that England looked poor. The other thing for Germany is that wasn't really that much impressed with France yesterday. France did play well, but they're now their star man, their captain Mbappe, has broken his nose, and there's rumours that he might be missing until the knockout stages last 16. He could miss 2 matches. Mm-hmm. So all those kind of things that really have helped Germany. I think they're the takeout side from the matches we've seen so far, along with Spain. I thought Spain were exceptional, but I still think Spain are going to be a little bit weaker. Spain always start major tournaments well. They never sort of finish them in recent years. They always get beat towards the outer end against the bigger nations. They're a young squad as well, Spain. So maybe next World Cup or the next European Championships for them. But I'm interested to see what Portugal are like tonight. I like Portugal. They're my second pick. I fancied them to do well tonight. So the takeout so far for me has been Germany and Spain, but I would expect an impressive performance tonight from Portugal.
You want to lay the goal? How do you want to play it? And do you think it could be a lot of goals in this match?
Well, let me give you the rundown of the tournament so far. There's been 10 matches on the tournament so far. 7 favourites have won. If you bet them all to level stakes, you'd be 1.17 units up. On the dogs, only 2 dogs have won out of 10, but you'd be plus 1.36. So you're better off betting the dogs than the favourites. You'd be in profit if you bet all of them, because there's been no draws. There's been only 1 draw in 10 matches, minus 6.37 on the draws. Over 2.5 goals is cashing 6 of 10, which is plus 186 units. Under 2.5 goals is 4 from 10, which would be a loser for minus 229. And both teams to score yes is 5 out of 10, and both teams to score no is 5 out of 10. So really, after 10 matches, there is no real gauge in if it's a tournament that we should be betting favourites or a tournament we should be betting dogs. So we're not really quite sure that. Usually on the first round of tournaments, you would tend to think that the favourites would win more than not. But tonight, I do think Portugal will win. I think they've got one of the best squads in the tournament. Ronaldo obviously leading that squad. Is he good enough to make a place? This is how good the Portuguese side are, that a lot of people are saying they're a better team without Ronaldo in it. So that shows you what strength they have in their depth. Bruno Fernandes has been exceptional for Manchester United and for Portugal in recent months. Jota, the striker from Liverpool, is back. He's been injured for a lot part of the season, so he's going to be fit. Lau, the winger who plays it over in AC Milan, has been exceptional in Serie A. So Portugal have got a really, really good squad. They're in great form coming into this tournament. They are the form horse of the competition. I think that squad, player for player, they're as good as any nation in terms of their squad depth. Czech Republic are a funny side. They've been indifferent in there. They've lost 2 of their 4 warm-up matches coming into this tournament. They don't really have players that can you would think of world-known stars, but their work ethic is good. And what you've seen from these opening matches, that these minnows have got no fear. They don't mind going toe-to-toe, and they don't mind having a shot. They have got a striker in Sheik, who's their top goal scorer in the last Euros. He's a quality player, and I think that he could score. He plays for Bayer Leverkusen, obviously, who won the domestic title in Germany, so he knows German football quite well. So if you are looking for the Czechs to score, I wouldn't probably bet them on the both teams to score. I'd probably go for Sheik to score at any time. He would be the main goal threat for them. So Patrick Sheik is the guy I think potentially. But I think Portugal will win this. I think this could be quite high scoring. And my bet would be Portugal -1 on the Asian handicap around about even money, which would be a push if it was exactly one, and you would collect if they won by more than one goal. Portugal were the highest scorers in European qualification for this tournament. They have got goals from every part of the pitch, and they're in great form and they're confident. They've got a good manager in Roberto Martinez, who's the manager of Belgium that took them to third in the World Cup. And I think that Portugal are going to be a major force in this tournament. And I think they got off to a fairly convincing start. I would expect the scoreline to be around about 3-1 to Portugal. But I think if you're looking for Portugal, for Czech Republic to score, I do think all their hopes are on their main man at the top in Sheik.
All right, Nigel Seeley, our guest, progressive guest line, his website, premiersportsplays.com. In your rundown that you had, you broke down several matches at vsin.com before the Euro 24 started last week. And in the other match today, Turkey-Georgia, you had some analysis on there. And one of your best bets was Turkey at the time to win the match, -127. I'm seeing now -145, maybe even a little bit higher. Is that out of range to play Turkey, in your opinion, with that number moving like it has?
Yeah, I wouldn't play it now.
Okay.
And not really when you've seen some of the performances from these minnow sides. I mean, you saw the performance from Slovakia yesterday against Belgium.
Belgium, yeah.
You saw, it was a brilliant performance. Then Romania, who would be on a similar par to Georgia. So I'll be quite nervous because these sides have got nothing to worry about. If I was rethinking that market now, I think Georgia will play with a lot of spirit, a lot of fight. Turkey, we know, are a very, very proud nation, and they like to get involved in a bit of a feisty affair on the pitch as well. So I think this could be both teams to score. I think this match has goals in it, and I think if I was looking for the angle now, both teams to score, yes, at plus money would tempt me. I would usually, if it was the third match or the second match, this match would probably be a game that I'd be looking at for bookings. But the bookings in this tournament have been really, really low. They're averaging only around about 3 bookings per game in the tournament so far. We're not seeing any corners. They're averaging about 8. We're not seeing any bookings. We're not seeing goals are about level, around about 2.7 a match. But bookings, corners usually will come in as the tournament progresses. So as we get to the second matches, or the all important third matches, you would expect the goals to go up and the bookings to go up. But this match could be a feisty affair, given how these two sides, proud nations they are. But I think the best angle would be for both teams to score now at the current line.
You tipped Harry Kane and the guy from Germany before the tournament for most goals. With what happened to Mbappe and Lukaku losing, what do you and then the injury to Mbappe? But anything with top goal scorer or most outstanding player? Which go ahead.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, Harry Kane should have scored. He had that brilliant header. He didn't really do anything apart from the chance he had the header, and he should have really scored. Harry Kane will still come good. I think England will still go deep. The fear with Germany is they're going to share goals around. My bet was Kai Havertz at 33-1. He's now 14-1. He's a big mover after the first round. He scored 1 goal from the penalty spot. But they shared goals around. There hasn't been a player in this tournament who scored 2 goals yet. All the goals, only one single player. So it shows that it's not going to take a lot to win this Golden Boot. So on the player of the tournament, this is an interesting fact because I was thinking about this yesterday and I went back through the history of player of the tournament. The official sponsor of this tournament, sports sponsor, is Adidas. So Adidas has sponsored it. The German team is sponsored by Adidas. Whenever there's been a tournament that Adidas have sponsored it, the player of the tournament has been a player that's been sponsored by Adidas. Whenever Nike have sponsored it, a Nike player has been the player of the tournament.
Yeah.
Mbappe is a Nike player. He's sponsored by Nike. Jude Bellingham from England is an Adidas player. So I think the German players in that market have a big advantage because all the German team are sponsored by Adidas. So I think if Germany go deep, and a German player will win this. And I think if you are looking at the player of the tournament, I think you should rule out anyone who's sponsored by Nike. So that is an interesting factor for me. And I think if you're looking at it now, Jude Bellingham would be the takeout player on the first round, even though England were very, very poor. Bellingham at 20 years of age was absolutely sensational, and the confidence, and he's going to get better and better and better, and he's a worthy favourite to be the top, the player of the tournament, and he ticks the box because England are going to go. I can't see England not getting to the semi-finals, even though they play poorly. So he's going to go deep in the tournament. He's a PR dream. He's sponsored by Adidas, so he's a worthy favourite. But I think Florian Wirtz and Musiala from Germany were exceptional, and I think at a bigger price they could be the players. So I think if you are going to play this market, just do a little bit of Googling. Find out who the players who are at the top of the market who have got Nike contracts, and look at the players who've got Adidas contracts. It is in Germany. Obviously, Adidas is a German brand, and they are the official sportswear sponsor of Euro 2024. When Nike
so good.
So I think that's a good thing to do.
Now, is this something that you stumbled upon before like this tournament, or is this you know this like every single year getting ready for the Euro tournament?
I knew it for a few years ago because it was an Mbappe and it was Ronaldo and Messi were going head to head in the World Cup and the player of the tournament and I think Nike was sponsoring one tournament and they didn't give the vote and I remember, and it was just something in my mind that I remembered, and then I just it reminded me of it at the start of this tournament. So it was always in the back of my brain somewhere, but no one's mentioned me. It was just something that I always looked at. But I just think with the Adidas connection, the German brand, I think if you're going to be the player of the tournament, you've got to be an Adidas player.
I love it. It's a great nugget. It really is. Awesome spot as always. Follow him on X. He's at Seeley_Nigel, PremierSportsPlays.com. Thanks, lad. Enjoy the tournament today.
Take care. All the best.
Be good. There
Thank
you go.
you.
He joined us on the Progressive Guest Line. Up next, blind resume in Major League Baseball, and a reminder that this particular wager is on a 13-0 under run. Details on that next.
Adam Burke on MLB. Lombardi on the NFL. Shoemaker, WNBA. Turn the page now. Also put a bow on the NBA season. Game 5 Stanley Cup final tonight. Get up there, bookmark it. Check out vsin.com. Best bets, betting splits, exclusive articles. Nigel on soccer, betting tools, betting guides. Check it out every day. vsin.com.
So Major League Baseball here. We'll begin doing a little blind resume for the National League MVP. The news with Mookie Betts getting injured. He is out a reported 6 to 8 weeks. That really stinks. I have the Dodgers, by the way, for the most wins this month. And, getting blasted twice against Texas did not help. Mm-hmm. And now all these injuries coming into play as well.
It's a good race. Very good race this month.
The one time I don't bet Baltimore. Yeah. I bet them in April and I bet them in May. Did not bet them in June, and they've been red hot. So, Betts dropped to 20-1 to win the MVP at DraftKings.
He was plus 110. Before as low as plus 110 before the injury. It just shows you can't do stuff like this.
I know.
With that much time left.
You
I'm looking right at you, Aaron Judge, as well.
Oh.
It's just that it's a perilous trade.
Sure.
It's a long season. Injuries happen.
And I could not take 20-1 on Mookie Betts now. I mean, if you're going to rule him out for up to 2 months, that's a huge chunk of the baseball season. You can't overcome that to win the MVP in most years.
Ohtani the favorite now, 2-1. And he was great in the win yesterday.
Sure. So here's player number 1. His overall ranks in the National League. Second in WAR. Second in WRC+. These are all big categories. The advanced metrics. Second in weighted on base. Second in slugging. Fourth in average. Second in home runs. Seventh in RBIs. And first overall in runs. That's a pretty damn good resume for player number 1.
Yep.
And that is the current short shot on the board, Shohei Ohtani. So he's 2-1. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Now that he's a short shot, with those numbers, if he stays healthy, he'll put up, we know what this guy is. He's going to put up insane numbers offensively. Player number 2 to win the award. His overall ranks, tied for 4th in WAR. 6th overall in WRC+ and in weighted on base. 3rd in slugging. 16th in average, tied for 5th in home runs, tied for 7th RBIs, tied for 13th in runs scored. So when you compare those overall numbers to Ohtani, certainly not in the same ballpark. They're good. They're not great like Ohtani. And player number 2, Pauly, is the second shot on the board at plus 350, Bryce Harper. Now, they're going to run away with this division the way it appears.
I hope so.
And they might win 100-plus games, and his numbers are going to be sick. About plus 350 right now?
Yeah.
And we'll do one more player for you. Third player on the betting board. Now look at his overall numbers here. In the National League, he's tied for 4th in WAR, 1st in WRC plus, weighted on base and slugging. He's 1st in home runs and RBIs, 2nd in average, and 10th in runs. That's better than Ohtani. That player is also 10-1. And that player is Marcell Ozuna for the Atlanta Braves.
Wow.
And I know people who have him on gigantic tickets.
Come on. Why were they on this guy?
He got off to a blazing hot start.
Okay, yeah.
And they were taking huge numbers. I am not one of them. I don't have a single penny on Ozuna. Also, we did...
How big are we talking?
200-1.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was out.
Wow.
Maybe even higher than that was out there.
Well, the offense has been in a funk here for a while, but he's now they appear to turn it around. And
they were on that underrun for so long.
That's right.
He's 10-1.
Yep.
So he's not a household name. He's not a brand name like Ohtani for sure, or Bryce Harper. The Braves don't have to win that division. You don't have to have that anymore to win an award in Major League Baseball. Is he worth a bet right now, middle of June, 10-1? If you have nobody in this market so far.
I think you missed it. Plus brand name bias. I mean, it's going to be hard to overcome Ohtani and Harper.
Also, is this sustainable for him the entire year?
No, that's another point too. I don't know. I'd rather have him than Tatis, though.
Oh, so would I.
It's the same price. I'd rather take this guy.
I'd rather have him than Bryce Harper, honestly, at the current numbers. I'd rather take 10-1 on him than plus 350 on Bryce Harper. So I thought that was interesting, and I know people have been on Ozuna for a long time. I'm not one of them. But good if you have a great ticket, man, good for you.
Sure. How about Cy Young? With Wheeler getting lit up, Suarez does it again. He's the favorite at 3-1. Glasnow and Wheeler plus 450. Imanaga plus 550. Skeens again. Why not? 45-1. Why not? Does it again. 4-1 Pirates. I'm on board. Futures, and then Rookie of the Year, Imanaga's even money. Skeens is plus 125.
Well, you love this guy. I mean, it's tough not to. I love him as well. I mean, I traded Jackson Holiday in my Dynasty League for the guy. So I root for him every single game like you could imagine. The K prop did not go over yesterday.
Yeah, it's 7. I know.
He had 7. Looked like he was going to get there. Did not.
Yeah.
So do you have him to win the Cy Young?
No, but I'm thinking about adding it, though. 45-1. Why not? Absolutely.
Did he miss too much of the season?
I don't think so, no. There's a lot of time left.
Here's the thing. I think what he's doing right now, certainly he can do the entire year.
Uh-huh.
Can Imanaga do this? He was awesome again in his last start.
No, but he's only great at Wrigley, though. He's blown up twice on the road. That's why I'm still surprised he's even money. Skeens is catching him.
Oh, he's almost already tracked him down.
Yeah, he's going to catch him.
In the odds board.
Because of Imanaga had a couple rough starts on the road. Now, lights out at home, but there'll be so many road starts that he's going to get exposed. But this guy's yet to have a bad start. Mm-hmm. And that one time where he was charged with 3 earned, the bullpen let him down. So the outlier from a strikeout standpoint was the Giant game when he only had 3. But the punch-outs are there every game. And just taking over and dominating there every game. A good Reds offense, and they get one early, and that's all she wrote. And to shut down the Cardinals and what he's doing, went over the K-prop, and you said St. Louis doesn't strike out. He went over there too. So, this league is wide open with all these teams bunched up.
I think this award is wide open now. Mm-hmm. With Wheeler getting rocked like that in his last start, 8 runs, that's a bad look. So he dropped obviously a little bit. I think Chris Sale's live. He had 1 bad start so far. He's 12-1. I think Sale can win it. Glass now, can he stay healthy? If he stays healthy, he might be the winner at the end of the year.
You know who's having a good year is Paxton. He was solid again last night. I mean, the ERA's like 3.5 or something like that, but he's like 7-1 now, and shut down the Rockies on the road. Right. So.
I will go over this nugget one more time, Ted. Do you have something else?
I was going to say Sonny Gray was, but
that's true.
The bullpen let him down. That was a bad beat. It's 4-1, bottom of the 8th, 1 on, 2 out. They take him out, and the bullpen blows it. They won the game in extras, but 4-1 becomes 4-4. So that's because Skeens. It's an event. It's a big time. It's a big story every time he pitches. It's must-see TV.
And so far,
attendance is up 55% when he starts at home games. So
he's living up to it in essentially every single start. Mm-hmm. Sonny Gray's really good. I mean, the back-to-back years he's putting together now, Twins and now the Cardinals.
What the hell were the Twins doing?
I have no idea.
You finally make the playoff. You finally win a playoff series, rather, and you cut payroll.
It's not like you had to break the bank for the guy.
Yeah.
And give him $300 million. One game I wanted to remind you of today. So the Royals, this is not a sexy matchup at all, but the Royals are playing at the A's. Marsh goes against Hogan Harris, making the start here for Oakland. A reminder that opposing left-handed starters are 13 and 0 to the under on their K-prop against the Royals. Last 13 games. Kevin Rogers, great numbers, Vegas insider. Harris has started 3 games. He K'd 7, 3, and 5 so far in those games. His K-prop today is, here's the problem, it's 4.5. It is severely juiced. I'm seeing like as high as minus 180 to the under.
All right.
On that number.
Okay. Mets have won 6 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Miami's lost 6 in a row. I come right back with the Cardinals tonight. The Twins, the streakiest team in history, lose 8 in a row. Win 5. They've won 5 in a row now. They're at home against the Rays. And we mentioned this on air. The Nationals are tied for the last wild card spot. They've won 8 of 10. They're a game under 500. They're 18-1 to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they were 25-1 when we brought it up.
Yeah.
And they were, I think, a half a game back at the time.
What a story. And Irvin goes today against the Diamondbacks, who they're right there where, all these teams bunched up with pretty much the same record.
Yeah. Is it worth maybe a little pocket change here on the Nationals to make the playoffs?
Why not?
Nothing serious here.
All these teams are average. Yes.
I can't recommend putting a big bet on it because you're going to hate yourself if they go on a 7-game losing streak. I know I would.
Well, they're playing good ball, though. I mean, that's the other thing. It's to win 8 of 10, and Irvin goes today. Why not? I don't trust the Cubs. I don't trust these other teams. Arizona, the Padres have lost 5 in a row now. So.
I certainly don't trust the Padres.
Yeah, right.
So maybe it's worth a little bit of pizza money. I got a big one going tonight as Houck goes for the Red Sox against Bassett and the Blue Jays. Tanner Houck on the year. He's been great at home and on the road. He's on the road tonight playing against just a dead Blue Jays offense. Knock on wood. He's got a 1.66 ERA on the road so far this season. And this Red Sox team, I think they could be scary if they get into the playoffs. They have a good offense, man. They had 9 stolen bases against the Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball. Duran's having a hell of a year.
Yeah, so this market's out of control too. They're 3-1 to make the playoffs. Houston's 2-1. Minnesota minus 210. No, thank you. Padres plus 190. No way. Yep. Don't want it.
Professional sports bettor Paul Stone on the show coming up next. We'll start our weekly college football conference previews. He's really high on a team in Conference USA this year. Find out which team and why coming up next.
All right, it's football season. Getting close, Hall of Fame game, but our VSiN NFL betting guide comes out next week. Predictions, win totals, props. Humans working on the AFC East, as he mentioned. We talk about the Miami Dolphins today. To get the guide, you have to be a VSiN Pro subscriber. $1.99, kicking a month for free. 13 months, less than 50 cents a day. Every best bet, every host, every guest as well. VSiN.com/subscribe, code FTM. Do it now. Here we go. And college football starts August 24th, and we're ready with Paul Stone for our conference previews at Paul Stone Sports on X. Check out the website as well. He's on the Progressive guest line, and he joins us now every Tuesday to preview all these conferences. How you been, sir? Good to see you.
Been good. I mean, guys, it's mid-June, really the second half of June now, so we're kind of getting close. You can start kind of seeing the finish line. So again, every year I just have the same excitement. I wonder if it's going to wane. And despite some of the changes in college football that a lot of us probably don't like, there's still going to be football games. There's still going to be excitement, and there's still going to be lines on these contests. So just looking forward to another college football season.
I will say on that note, I saw Todd Furman with a tweet yesterday, and he basically said this is just, it's crushing as like a fan. Looking at the conference by conference rundown, like in certain magazines, and when it actually says Pac-2 with Washington, it's just like, oh man, that is gutting. But what do you?
That's it,
right, Paul? I mean, it kind of stinks, but here we are.
It does. I mean, the Pac-12 of all years, their final hurrah, so to speak. They were the most exciting league. You could argue they were the most exciting league in all of college football last year. Just great contest, and they really were starting to come around. They'd been a little bit below maybe the other Power 5 conferences for some period of time, but they finished with a bang, and poof, it's over.
Yep.
And Oregon State and Washington State are two teams that are kind of left out of the realignment mix. Just sad stuff to watch.
All right, Conference USA today. Your first pick to win the league and the win total as well. You have some numbers here that are just staggering on Liberty in the upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this Conference USA. First of all, obviously, it's the weakest conference in the entire FBS. It's a 10-team conference. And Liberty's just head and shoulders above everybody else in this conference. That's all it comes down to. I mean, they've got it starts with their quarterback, Caden Salter. He's a dual threat guy. He would be good at any level. Makes the most out of broken plays. Passed for 2,876 yards last year. Ran for another 1,089. Accounted for 44 touchdowns. So he's a big-time player. If Salter stays healthy, these are my projected lines. I have the Flames favored by double digits in all 8 of their conference games and by double digits in 3 of their 4 non-conference games.
Oh.
So I have them favored by double digits in 11 of their 12 games. And they would be favored by 20 or more points in 5 of those games and between 11.5 and 14.5 points in 6 of those games. The only game they would not be favored is the game that's going to decide whether they're a consideration for this year's 12-team playoff, and that's going to be a trip to Appalachian State, the final Saturday in September. Right now I have them projected as a 2.5-point underdog, could be about 3 points. So that's the only game they're going to be an underdog in. They're just, again, I've got Liberty. I power rank all 134 teams. I have them more than 40 places ahead of the closest Conference USA team. Those 134 team rankings. So it's just, it's just a team that's just a class above. There's a step above everybody in their conference. I think they're going to win at least 11 games, if not 12 games. So I'm recommending Liberty over 10.5 wins at even money, like that. And then I'm taking Liberty, even though minus 160, which is available at FanDuel to win Conference USA. That sounds pretty cost prohibitive. But at minus 160, to overcome that, you would have to think Liberty's going to win the conference at least 7 of 10 times. I think they're probably going to win it 9 out of 10 times. Mm-hmm. So I like it. It sounds like a bad price, a square price. Liberty's going to win the Conference USA if Caden Salter doesn't get hurt. I like Liberty minus 160 to win Conference USA.
So based on all of your numbers then, what's their SOS going into the season?
It's 134 out of 134.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think they had the worst schedule by most folks who monitor such things last year, and Phil Steele has them as the worst schedule this year. I think they have the worst schedule, and I think most people would concur either the worst or certainly in the last 2 or 3. So they play a very easy schedule.
Okay, so that brings me to this. So now the little guy has a seat at the table. Expanded playoff, but they're guaranteed a spot. But plus 210 to make the playoff is outrageous because of that schedule. And also, they got in it, but it was controversial last year that they got that spot. And what you're going to talk about what happened to Oregon. But your thoughts at the price, Liberty plus 210 to make the playoff, and who are the contenders in the group of 5 that are battling it out that could challenge them there for that automatic spot?
Yeah, I don't want to get too complicated here, but plus 210, that's just not that's not enough of a price to take Liberty to make the playoff, even though I think, one thing, if they go undefeated, they still might not make the playoff.
Right.
They might take, for instance, a one-loss Boise or a one-loss Memphis over Liberty. What I would do, if you think Liberty is going to go undefeated, take Liberty on the money line against Appalachian State in week 5. So you're going to be getting plus money because they're going to be the underdog. And then if they win that game, roll it over. You're not going to be getting great payouts, but roll over the winnings each time in the next 7 regular season games, and you're going to end up at better than plus 210 on your original stake. So that's the way I would handle Liberty there. I think their 2 primary contenders are going to be Boise State and Memphis.
Okay.
Both those teams do play big-time opponents out of their conference. Boise goes to Oregon. I believe that's week 2. Oregon's going to be about a 21, 22-point favorite probably. And then in week 3, Memphis goes to Florida State. The Seminoles probably favored by 16 or 16.5. I think Memphis and Florida State can certainly afford to lose those games. They're expected to lose those games, but I think they need to be competitive and they need to go 11-1 to have a shot at the group of 5 at-large bid there in the 12-team tournament. Other teams that have a possibility, I think, would be Miami of Ohio out of the MAC, and then Texas San Antonio also out of the American Athletic Conference, which is also the conference that Memphis resides.
Okay, excellent. Very good. Now, how about an under? You want to play an under with UTEP. Tell us why.
Yeah, again, it comes down to strength of schedule and that type of thing. Anytime you're looking at a regular season win total, you want to look at who they play and where they play them. And first of all, UTEP plays a group of teams that are very weak. It's a very weak schedule, as you would think, playing in the nation's weakest conference. UTEP only won 3 games last year. They have a new head coach in Scotty Walden. They face a challenging non-conference schedule. They play on the road. Nebraska, Colorado State, and Tennessee, all almost certain losses. And then in week 2, they host FCS member Southern Utah. Southern Utah went 6-5 last year. Pretty good FCS team. Southern Utah last year in their season opener only lost 24-21 at Arizona State. This game's going to be around a pick 'em. Southern Utah could actually be favored. If Southern Utah's favored, I only have UTEP favored in 2 games all year, that being home games against Florida International and first-year FBS member Kennesaw State. So, I don't even see, this is just one of the nation's most inexperienced teams, one of the nation's least talented teams. I don't see 4 wins on this schedule, really, when I look at their schedule, much less 5. So you've got under 4.5 minus 110 available there at Circa. There are some 4s out there, so if you're going to play this, I would get it now before 4 kind of becomes the standard number available. But I like UTEP under 4.5 wins at minus 110 there at Circa.
All right. Excellent breakdown. As always, like you said, be shopping because on that Liberty regular season win total, Paul, you found it's even money over 10.5 at DraftKings. Here at Circa, it's minus 115. So get the best number as always with all these bets that you're talking about. You can also listen to Paul's podcast. It's called the Paul Stone Sports Podcast. He's a professional sports bettor. Joins us every week talking college football. That was excellent, my friend. Thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate that.
Hey, love being on with you guys and look forward to the rest of the summer. You guys have a good day.
You too.
Thank you, sir.
And he was on the Progressive guest line. Looking good there on Skype today, early on a Tuesday morning.
Plus 210 is outrageous.
There's no way you can bet that.
I mean, so 13-1 last year. And a good team, but Salter 32-6 touchdown INT ratio ripped right through the conference. But then people remember that game. They lost 45-6 to Oregon. So now this is going to be a playoff game, and it would have been Liberty against Florida State last year. How it looked, but they're not going to put them in based on that because it's a worse schedule.
Everybody wants plus money, right? But I love Paul's segment there because basically he said minus 160 to win the league, great bet in his opinion. Plus 210 to make the playoff, forget about it. No way, you're betting numbers here. Up next, we'll recap what took place last night in the NBA Finals. It's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Good to have you on board. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard in Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Eddie Olczyk on the program coming up in 15 minutes. We'll ask him if Sergei Bobrovsky cost himself the Conn Smythe in Game 4 on Saturday night as we get Game number 5 tonight. Congrats to the Boston Celtics. They earned that championship, and they were the best team in the NBA from start to finish this year. So a team that kind of fell on their faces in previous years. You know, there is like a foundation, there are building blocks to eventually win a title for most teams. And they were getting there. They were in the finals. They got close. They lost when they should not have, but they overcame that. They're still, very young overall with their star players. And they won the title last night in convincing fashion. and Pauly, obviously deservingly so, right? They are the champs for a reason again. I think that we were robbed maybe a little bit of not getting the Nuggets there, but regardless, Boston was the best team this year, and they have that title. And, a lot of this comes down to what Brad Stevens was able to do as the GM of the team, running the organization, getting Porzingis and Drew Holiday, but also maybe a little bit of draft luck and how it panned out.
A lot
in
of
2016, right? Now, I'm not going to say that Brown should have been number 1 overall, but it goes Ben Simmons 1, Brandon Ingram number 2, then Jaylen Brown number 3. That has certainly worked out for them. The next year in 2017, Sixers trade up to number 1. They took Fultz and not Tatum. And then the Lakers took Lonzo Ball, and then Tatum was number 3. Just a complete whiff by both those teams in front of them.
And I don't know how that they convinced the Sixers, for whatever reason, that with the trade, but that the Celtics wanted Fultz and not Tatum when they wanted Tatum all along. And how that worked out was a disaster for Philadelphia.
Not hindsight, said this at the time. Said it back in 2017. You got to take Tatum number 1 overall. I don't love the guy by any stretch of the imagination. I thought he, in the fourth quarter, and even a little bit before that last night, he was trying to do whatever he could to win the MVP of the finals. And I did not have a problem if he did, but I also stick by the voters. And I think Jaylen Brown was a deserved winner there.
Yep. So, hello, Nesson and New England. So they get 18 titles, and they pass the Lakers now. And Southern California. I actually, first time ever, I like the Magic Johnson tweet. I'm glad that it upsets and bothers them that they now passed them and that great rivalry. And now Boston goes ahead of them. But does Brad? They can probably thank the Miami Heat. I don't think Stevens goes all in if they don't lose that series last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, and he gets Porzingis and he gets Holiday. But the domination this year, and you've mentioned this several times throughout the year, more 30-point leads than 10-point deficits.
Now that's remarkable.
A record 17 25-point wins. A record 10 30-point wins. A record 3 50-point wins. 19 20-point wins. Clinched the best record before 12 teams clinched a playoff spot 17 days before any other team. Longest losing streak was 2 on the season.
It's a hell of a season, man.
So 16-3 in the playoffs, 80-21 for the season. And you just saw last night, just even with a banged-up Porzingis, the depth in the big 6 that they have, where Holiday chips in, he's great. Tatum, Brown, White knocking down threes. Al gives you 9 and 9.
Well, it tells you overall, like if you were paying attention to the NBA Finals MVP in-play wagering last night, that tells you how good this team was. Drew Holiday right away, he was off to a great start last night. He was terrific in Game 2. He dropped to 8-1 right away. And then the back and forth with Tatum and Brown, who's going to win, that tells you how many times that they can kill you. We had Derek White 45-1, never had a chance after Game 2 in my opinion. But a guy like that is either their 5th or 6th best player in a finals? That's incredible.
Nope. Didn't have a chance, but if you tell me before the series that a guy who's going to have 25-5 is going to win it, you're thinking, well, the door was open for White. But Brown gets it without those numbers, which the last 40 years, 4th worst numbers with points, rebounds, and assists combined. And
that tells you that's not a one-man team.
Yeah, right. But I also don't know. I mean, we had talked about it with Bob Ryan. The numbers say historically great in the running. Number 1 offense in NBA history. Number 2 defense this year. But we didn't see him go against a healthy Miami, a healthy Cleveland, or a healthy Indiana. But 16-3, and in one of the losses, Miami was historically great from 3 in that game and what they did. So it also was just bad Dallas. I credit the Celtics, but just an all-time outlier. What happened? P.J. Washington against the Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's because he was nowhere to be found. Lively was good on the glass, but he was just coming off a series where he was 16-16 shooting. He was a 0 offensively. You got nothing out of Jones. You got nothing out of Washington. And Kyrie was a mess. And Kyrie was bothered. And the crowd was a factor. And he said so. And he poked the bear after Game 1. Which you shouldn't do, and that was an amateur move by him.
That one is going to last with me for a long, long time. The day after the NBA draft, our show, I bet, and I said this on the air, give me OKC, all you can eat, 60-1 to win the West. They were 80-1, even higher than that, to win the NBA title. I love that team this year, and because of P.J. Washington, I was able to hedge a little bit, but that's a killer, man. of all series for him to step up and play like that, OKC is awesome. And Dallas beat them in 6 games. OKC, I don't think they beat Boston by any stretch, but I think they give them clearly a better series than that. I think Denver gives Boston a better series, maybe wins. I think Minnesota gives them a better series. I don't think they win, but it's just we had to have that one team that gets through like in March Madness, that's a 9 seed to the Final Four, and then they get blown out by 30 points. Happens all the time in that sport, and it happened this year in the NBA.
Well,
and all this is the NBA stuff that drives me crazy. People can't wait for the hottest takes of all time. How does that backcourt look now? Best scoring backcourt of all time. That actually picked up steam. Drives me absolutely insane, man.
That was an asinine comment. Absolutely. But you're looking at it, they're going to run it back next year. And hard to get there with Philadelphia. I want to see some of the offseason moves, but between the being out of shape and always hurt, hard to take Embiid seriously.
I can't do it.
Healthy Knicks team. These are the lowest odds right now for the Knicks since 2001, what they're priced at, in the 15-1 range. And it's going to be great that everyone's healthy. But going back, this Evan Abrams tweet, 38 of the last 40 years, the NBA champ has entered the season with odds of 20-1 or better. Or under is this case. So that's, other than the Golden State year, I don't know what the other one was. It's hard. Golden State was, I think, 30-1 that one year, but it's you're going to get chalky with the NBA, and certainly full marks to the Celtics and Stevens for what they did. And I have to say, great job by Mazzulla. That everything he did, they bought in, and showing the UFC choke out, guys tapping out, mixing in between film study and breaking down film as well. Everything he did worked out. So they run it back, and certainly it's an embarrassment of riches with that team as they just ran down all those numbers and what they did. Great season.
I think the Knicks might be their biggest challengers next year. I don't think the East is very good. And here's the thing in the NBA. We are going to get plenty of player movement in the offseason. That happens every single year. I love the offseason in the NBA. It's been...
okay. How about the Pacers? Remember, they should have won 2 of those games, and Halliburton was hurt.
Could have won 3 of them.
Well, that too, yeah. But I really am anxious to see what a healthy Knicks team looks like.
Me too, no doubt. Now, in the Western Conference, these are up now at DraftKings to win the West. Nuggets 4-1, Thunder 425, Wolves plus 475, Mavericks 5-1. Lakers and Clippers are 14-1, along with the Warriors and the Suns. I would not take the Warriors. You can triple those numbers right now.
Wow, that's bad.
I would not take the Warriors at maybe even 50-1 to win the West. Right now, current state Suns, no chance am I taking the Phoenix Suns. Clippers, I can't do it either. I think some of these teams that are below those squads, like the Grizzlies with Ja Morant coming back, the Spurs are 80-1 with Wembanyama. I would much rather gravitate towards those numbers than the Warriors, the Clippers, or the Suns to win the West next year.
I want to see what the Pelicans are going to do, because I think they're going to ship out Ingram.
You're right.
And I got to see what the Clippers are going to do. I mean, do they bring George back? Does he leave? That's big. I mean, 14-1 looks okay, but the fact that it's also, as much as we kill Embiid, it's worse with Kawhi. You can't count on him.
No.
I mean, here he is again. They had a good regular season, and then you can't count them on the playoffs again, and they get bounced right away. So, but there's just not much there.
I think the Miami Heat
the West is so competitive.
In the East, the Heat could look a lot different next year. Mm-hmm. They're not afraid to make big moves, and I think this upcoming offseason is just the biggest for the Milwaukee Bucks since they've had Giannis, because they are wasting his prime.
Yep.
They tried, but it wasn't the right move.
And we'll see what the Lakers do. First things first, they need a coach. I mean, the draft is next Wednesday now. But who do they add? They have to get somebody. I mean, might be wishful thinking, but if they could get Butler or get a
Trae Young.
No way. I want the other guy in Atlanta. I don't want Trae Young. I don't want any part of him. I want Murray.
I'm with you.
That'd be the case. But that's, Butler would be fantastic, but the Lakers have to make a big move.
Did Sergei Bobrovsky cost himself the Conn Smythe in Game 4? Can Connor McDavid win in losing fashion? Find out what Eddie Olczyk thinks next here on VSiN.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger, Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.